Our next speaker is a very dear friend of mine, Jack Ames from Defend Life. He founded Defend Life Maryland, a Catholic pro-life group that has worked tirelessly. He is the king of bringing speakers to the fore, and he's known for his week-long Face the Truth tours during the summertime, his tremendous newsletter, Defend Life newsletter, that comes out on a monthly basis. He himself is a tireless activist and is never seen anywhere without that T-shirt on. If he is, it's not Jack Ames. It's somebody, it's an imposter. He's a very dear friend of mine, and I'm very pleased to welcome him to Wilmington, Delaware today.
Thank you, Maura. By the way, her nickname is Masher. That means anybody who gets in her way who's pro-abortion, their history. The year was 1989, or thereabouts. It might have been 88. When you've been at this for 43 years or so, what's a year or two? Nothing compared to eternity. But back in 1989, as I recall, Defend Life was in its early years. We got started in 1987. And what we do is we bring, as Maura just said, we bring great pro-life speakers to churches, schools, and where we can get them in. It's not easy because many of the churches are not pro-life, including many of the Catholic churches, sadly. But on one particular occasion, about 1989, we decided to have a rally. Now, the rescue movement was really at a peak, and people like Randall Terry had been arrested. Hundreds of people had been arrested in Atlanta. We almost took Atlanta, really. It was a fantastic time. There were so many people who were being arrested, they couldn't put them in the jails. They had to create prison camps out on the outskirts of Atlanta. And Randall Terry apparently was in one of those prison camps. I don't think he liked to be incarcerated. Who does? But we had scheduled this rally at St. Agnes Church in Catonsville, which is West Baltimore, and we were going to do a double header. We're going to have two speakers. We're going to have Joe Scheidler and Randall Terry. And it was an upstairs downstairs church, so we're going to do one talk upstairs, one talk downstairs, and then we're going to flip-flop. Well, it turns out, guess what? Randall Terry was still in jail in Atlanta, so he couldn't be there. So he sent a stand-in. I can't remember Joe's last name. I'm sure you do, Randall. And Joe spoke, and then the other Joe, the more prominent Joe Scheidler spoke, and it was a great rally. I can remember we had our Stop Abortion Now signs out front, and there were some pro-aborts out there that didn't like it. But that was a great time. Now, not too long after that, we actually invited Randall. He was out of jail now, and he was free to come and speak. So we had trouble finding a place at Loyola College where we were meeting at the time. So we went to St. Pius X Catholic Church in North Baltimore, and I think the pastor there was very nice and didn't realize what a controversial person Randall Terry was. We were slipped in through the cracks, so to speak. But as we drove in, oh, by the way, when Randall got off the plane, it was U.S. Air, whatever they called it back then, Allegheny or whatever, he got bonked on the head by his attaché case, which came tumbling out of the overhead rack. I don't know if it was his case or somebody else's. But he was slightly injured, but that didn't slow him down. So as we pulled into St. Pius X Church, the pro-aborts were out there picketing St. Pius X. But he gave a great talk there at St. Pius X. So now fast forward to 2008. What happened in 2008? Well, one of the things that happened is 18 of us in Defend Life, as Maura just said, in addition to our great speakers, and by the way, go to defendlife.org and you can see some of the speakers we've had. Great speakers, like some of the speakers here, like Randall, like Alan Keyes, like Joe Scheidler, like Ann Scheidler, like Eric Scheidler. We just had Bishop Joseph Coffey, one of the great charm and lights in our bishops in America. And we'll be having Kevin Wells this coming month here in October. And then we'll be having Steve Mosher in November. Nobody in the entire world knows more about what's going on in China than Steve Mosher. Look what China has done. Without firing a single shot, they have crippled the world, the free world. America, we're stumbling. God help us that we'll get back to what our economy was. But they have inflicted great harm on America and the rest of the world. But that's just the beginning. They want to enslave America. So that's what Steve Mosher will be talking about when he comes on November 19th and 20th. So tune in to defendlife.org. All of our talks, by the way, we put them on Facebook Live so you can watch them after the fact. But after the, in 2009, Randall, after those, by 2008, the point I was going to make is that 18 of us, including myself, were illegally arrested by the gendarmes. I'd like to think of they were acting like the old Soviet Union police, the Gestapo in Germany. Had no reason how, they didn't know why they had arrested us, but we had these signs of aborted babies. That's what a Face the Truth tour is, where we have these gigantic signs of first, second, and third trimester aborted babies. And we were at the last stop. We had 3 stops a day. The last stop on Friday afternoon, we were in Bel Air, Maryland. And guess what happened? Here comes some trooper. I made the mistake of calling him officer. And he said, "Who's in charge?" I said, "It's a lady over there." So he stops the traffic on the 6-lane road. We cross over. And he said, "Ma'am," her name was Beth Walsh, "where's your permit?" You said, "Officer, we don't need a permit. Our permit is the First Amendment of the Constitution." "You need a permit." "Oh, no, sir, we don't need a permit." "You need a permit." "Well, anyway, you get out of here," he said, "or we're going to arrest you." So what we did is we went 4 miles up the road into a different locality, into the town of Bel Air, thinking if we had any problem, it would be the Bel Air police, not the Maryland State Police. But here come the Maryland State Police, and they arrested 18 of us. It got worse. They didn't know why they had arrested us. It was probably because some female trooper who was post-abortive just had a chip on her shoulder and told the other officers, troopers as they call themselves, to arrest, and they did. And then they had to figure out why they had arrested us. So guess what? After we were released, we sued them, and we won, and $500,000 changed hands. It came to us. Most of that went to our lawyers, but 3 of the girls who had been bra searched, how heinous. 3 of the girls were bra searched. They basically went to college free. So God can bring good out of evil, can he not? And anyway, it's so good to be here, but what can we do to assure, by the way, that period of time, 2008, 2009, who was the vice president? Obama was the president. Who was his vice president? Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Did he speak out in our defense when 18 of us were illegally arrested? Heck no. I'm sure he was clueless, like he still is. What can we do now to assure the election that President Trump, our godly pro-life president, is reelected? Some of the things we can do, if we live in this part of the country, probably not going to win Delaware. That's sort of in the bag for Sleepy Joe. But there's Pennsylvania just to the north. We can go up to Pennsylvania, and we can leaflet. We can make phone calls. We've leafleted Catholic Church parking lots for years and years during presidential elections. It's easy to do. You do it about halfway through Mass or halfway through the service. And we can make phone calls, and we can send emails to our friends and send them good videos. But we need to get on board to get President Donald Trump reelected. Thank you.